Welcome back to another MECH 1000 video. We're working on drawing 7.4 and I'm getting ready to place these hex heads on the top of my assembly drawing, and I found I've got yet another mistake in this drawing. So what I did was I took these hole locations here from my top view of the cap and I copied it from this midpoint over here to this midpoint, which should have allowed me to find the locations of these holes. But as you can see here, this hole is not intersecting this arc, and on this side it is. So it led me to realize something is not symmetrical about this part, and I've concluded it's the dovetail joint down here. So I'm going to put a couple dimensions on here and fix this. So these things happen, and it is okay. We can fix this. All is not lost. So what do we want this dimension to be? If I look back at the original drawing here, the width of this is supposed to be 4.5. I think it is. I think the width of the dovetail slot is correct. Yep. And the overall length of the base is 9.5. So that's a difference of 5. When split two ways, that should be 2.5 and 2.5. So my dovetail slot is shifted a little bit to the left by 0.0625. So if I stretch it, I include that area in my stretch, and then move it back over to the right, 0.0625, and then do the same thing here. Stretch it to the right, 0.0625. Now it is symmetrical, 2.5 on either side, 4.5 in the middle. So sorry about that, guys. Sorry about making a couple little mistakes here, but fortunately we caught them and they weren't too hard to fix. So now if I move this to the center, there we go. Now we can tell it looks the same on both sides. And the only reason I brought these circles over here is so that I could use them, just showing you some little tricks you can use to make locating some of these things a little easier. So those 3 holes are spaced out horizontally like that in the top view, so it makes sense they would be spaced the same in the right view here. So now I can move this hex head to that location, and then I'll copy it over to here and there, and then delete that. And now I'm done with these. I can delete them as well. I suppose I could have also, instead of copying over those holes from the top view of the cap, I could have maybe just drawn some construction lines straight down from the top view as well. If I had done that, however, I might not have found my error. And actually, do I have another error? I do. My top and front sides of my assembly drawing are not aligned. If I pull construction lines down there, there's a little bit of a gap, so I think I need to take this whole front view and move it that way. There we go. That's better. It's been a long day of recording videos, and I can tell my focus is not where it should be. I'm making a few mistakes here that I should not be making. Alright, we need a side view of our assembly drawing, so I'm going to turn off those hidden lines and center lines and dimensions again so that I can take the side view of the base. I'll copy that. And I'll take the side view of the cap and I will copy that. I don't think this line is supposed to be there. Let me turn back on my hidden line. Okay, I think it's just on the wrong layer. I think this should be a hidden line. Because this, what this is supposed to be, is the bottom side of that. Yep, that should have been hidden. So that was, which one was that? Top of the two. That one, just get rid of that in this view. You know, I'm just noticed I'm missing a couple of visible lines on the side view of my base. There should be a line going straight up there and there. I don't think I noticed that when I was making the side view down here because it overlaps with the center lines of these holes. So sometimes when there's a little too much stuff going on, it's easy to overlook some stuff like that. But there, that fixes that up. And I'm going to draw a construction line from the bottom of the bushing straight over. It happens to line up with that line right there. I'm just going to take one of these bushings that I already drew and then rotate it 90 degrees and move it into position. Put the bottom right corner of it down there. Then I can get rid of that construction line. Alright, and then finally I've got my caps. So what I might do to locate them is copy this whole top view. I'll copy the whole thing over and rotate it 90 degrees. And then move it so that the center of it, the midpoint, is aligned with that midpoint. Let me just double check, make sure that still aligns. Yep, that's aligned. That edge aligns. Okay, so I can use the locations of the bolts in this top view to draw some construction lines. Alright, and I'll copy one of those hex heads here and here. And then when I copy it, this one over here, the two are going to overlap a little bit, so I'll trim off that and get rid of that. Get rid of that line like that. And actually, maybe what I'll do is get rid of that and mirror these two. There we go. Now I'm done with my construction lines. And yeah, I'm done with the assembly drawing now. I just need some annotation. So I'll turn back on that annotation layer. Let's copy some of that text up here to make the text that says assembly drawing. And then I need to create the leaders that point to the different parts of this. And in order to do that, I need to modify my existing leaders. Or actually, not just modify the standard. I still want to have standard leaders, but I want to create a new layer type. And I'll call this, I can never remember if they're called balloons or bubbles. I think balloons. And instead of having just plain text here, I want to put a block at the end of this leader that has a circle around it. So now I can place those leaders that call out the part numbers, like the bolt. Oh, let me change my layer. The bolt is part number 4. That's small. I need to increase the scale of that, it appears. Yeah, I think that's half as big as it needs to be. Let me edit this. Modify. Let's change the scale of that to 2. Let's remake that. There, that looks better. Okay, so we've got number 4 there on the bolt. Number 3 is the bushing. We've got number 1 is the base. Number 2 is the cap. And I think that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I look at the parts list, yep, we've got parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's it. So that's a good place to stop this video. So we've got all of our views drawn and they're all annotated. What we're going to need to do is we still have a little bit of text to add. Looks like the general note for the fillets, the table that lists all the part numbers, and then we're going to have to set up our paper space layout, which is probably going to require us to move some stuff around. So most of the drawing is done now. We just need to clean it up a little bit, and we'll do that in the next video.